Good evening, music makers. So, I'm playing with the Digitact and the model cycles. I could have connected the outputs of the model cycles into the inputs of the Digitact, activated its monitor inputs, and listened through that. Headphones into the headphone out on the Digitact. Excellent. But what if I had more than one other thing that I was listening to along with the Digitact? What if I was playing live? I wanted more knobs, I wanted a bit more things I can make it louder or quieter or take some bass out, or let's be honest, probably, because it always sounds better that way, put some more bass in. I want a little mixer. So what I'm looking at here is the Behringer Xenyx QX1002USB that I grabbed a few weeks ago. I wanted something small and light with built-in effects that could go in the gig bag as part of the live rig. Whether I take the modular, whether I take the modular plus one other bit of gear, whether I leave the modular at home and take 3 or 4 different desktop units, something that doesn't take up too much space, lets me get things connected easily, lets me add some reverb, particularly without taking another box, and does it for not a huge amount of money. If I'm recording at home, things are getting plugged into a Universal Audio Apollo. I don't need a huge amount of quality at the front end. That's taken care of at home. So looking at something like, oh, how noisy is it? Oh, I've added a whole load of gain because my gain structure's a bit rubbish, or I've stuck a whole load of top end on it and it's starting to hiss a little bit. Yeah, probably is, but it's for live use. And you're live, you're over a PA system, you're in a sweaty basement somewhere, hopefully surrounded by people who are not caring about, oh, there's a little bit too much hiss on the top end of that, he's got a cheap mixer. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really care. I want something cheap. Yes, our bit's gonna snap off it. They might well do. I've got a Xenyx X, 2222 FX that I've used for more than 10 years. It's mixed a whole load of live bands for a radio show. The effects program knob is now snapped off and I'm now stuck with only a plate reverb that I can use, which, to be honest, is not the end of the world. And it was a couple £100 for 16 or something channels of actual instruments I can connect to it and band members I can mix, and it's done the job fine. Will this break at some point? Probably. But it does the job of what I was looking for a cheap mixer with built-in effects that doesn't take up too much space if I were to throw it in a rucksack to go to the gig. So, what are we looking at? Okay, we've got 2 mono channels with mic inputs on XLR, along with line inputs on 1/4 inch, with then our preamp gains, and they've got compressors on them as well. Simple 1-knob compressors, DBX over easy style, possibly inspired by. Turn it up till you start seeing the LED flash occasionally, and just leave it. Then you've got your EQ, non-parametric, completely. We've got high, mid, which is fixed frequency, and low. So nothing swept, it's just top, middle, bottom. Oof, done. Effects, so we've got an effects end with 99 programs. Clark Technic, let's be honest, it's just a brand that Music Tribe have bought, but yeah, it's one less bit of gear you have to carry to the gig. And do things sound better with a little bit of reverb on them, even if it's a cheap reverb? Yeah, they probably do. If your audience is thinking, that doesn't really sound like a lexicon, does it? That's not a PCM patch. If your audience is thinking about how cheap your reverb is, you probably have issues with your music. So, I'm not a fantastic musician. I'm not going to worry about my reverb. I'm going to worry about the fact that my music's crap. Well above worrying about my reverb. So, yeah, we've got reverbs, we've got delays, we've got flangers, choruses, multi-effects packs. There's a whole load of stuff in here. And yeah, just want to know, do I want more of it or do I want less? Do I want more of it? Or do I want less? And yeah, it's nice to have. And I've been through a load of lexicon and TC stuff, and it sounds great. But when I go to play live, I don't have a roadie, it's me on the bus, carrying the modular in a flight case and stuff in a backpack. I have a few beers, so I'm not driving. I want compact. This does the job. So with lockdown being what it is, I've not had a chance to take this live yet, but you're listening to me record this through it. Having the USB output is, again, something that if you're podcasting or whatever it is you're doing, or just want to make, like me, quick and easy videos, it's nice to have it. Better to have it than not. And if you've bought it to be a mixer, you're kind of getting it for free. So don't worry about it too much. So we've got those two mono channels. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stereo channels. So basically what we're kind of looking at there is you've got one mono synth, like a 303 or something, a microphone if you've got an MC, somebody singing live, and then Digitact, Analog 4, model cycles, other synth. That's a lot of power. You can connect more things than you're probably going to want on a small gig, or certainly more things than you're going to take to a small gig. Downsides of the stereo channels, and this is kind of where it bites me. I love the X1002 with the compressors and the EQ on everything, but it's just too big. This is great, it's exactly the size I'm looking for, and I actually don't need 4 stereo channels. I'd be happy with 2. I would rather they had 2 stereo channels, but each of the stereo channels had the compressors and the EQ in them. But there we go, I want a small mixer, EQs on the stereo channels, people, FX on the stereo, just like the mono channels but stereo, and fewer of them. I don't need that many. But it's, it's an £80 mixer. What a bargain. The big downside for me is the power adapter. Now, obviously it's small to put the transformer inside here. Means you're going to need to make it bigger to get it out of the way. You're probably going to have to work harder to keep the noise low if you've got a transformer in the unit. But having a well, it's not a wall wart, it's a line lump transformer and power supply is pretty tedious. Not only that, what is particularly upsetting is the fact that it's a proprietary input jack. If that thing goes, you're basically buying a new mixer, and you think, just stick it on a regular barrel connector. Come on, guys. I mean, do you need so much money that you need your own input style to be able to get this thing to work? How much money are you making selling replacement power supplies? Because a new power supply is probably half the cost of a mixer, so let's get a new mixer at that point. That is the big downside. But if you want a cheap, small mixer that you can put in your gig bag, get a few bits of gear connected, take to the gig, give you hands-on control over all the things you need when it comes to playing live. You just want, is this too loud? Is it too quiet? Yank. Is that a bit bright? Is it not? Adjust that. And just have a bit of reverb, bit of delay, something to glue those different components together. The Xenyx QX1002USB, it's pretty good. I mean, Mackie, if you're listening, build something like this, please. I'd quite happily pay 200 quid for something that was the specs of this, but in a Mackie VLZ3 style. Not the 4, not when you went all plastic and it just dipped a bit. But as far as I can see, those equivalents don't exist. Not something that's this compact. There are a lot of great small mixers about, but this functionality, I've got the USB out, I can go straight into the computer, I've got control rooms, I've got my master out. It does everything that I need it to do. And hopefully when all this lockdown stuff is over and I can go out and start gigging this, it will do what I bought it for. But we'll see how that lasts. So, there'll maybe be a follow-up if I'm able to get a gig, if live music comes back. Take this out, and if all the knobs snap off on the bus and the gig is a complete disaster, I will let you know. But for now, it just does the job. That was my poor mic technique and lack of pop screen. Don't blame the mixer for that.